the Raven, and a governor gets removed from office, all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is January 29th, 2024. It is the 29th day of the year. You got 337 days left. It is the 5th Monday in the 5th week and the 40th day of winter. You got 50 days left until spring. Today is National Curmudgeon Day. Whether they exhibit symptoms of being a grumbler, a complainer, fault finder, or nitpicker, or all of the above actually, a curmudgeon is known to be deeply grumpy and always in a sour mood. No matter how well things are going at the moment, they're always complaining about something, and it's just depressing to be around them. My high school girlfriend was like that. If you brought up you just got a raise, I'm making $10,000 more a year than I was last year. They're all, well, the government's gonna take half of that. That's how she was, about everything. Actually, now that I think about it, I know quite a few people like that. I'm painfully happy all the time. I can't imagine being a curmudgeon day. But if you are a curmudgeon, today's your day. Go out and complain about something. Tell everyone you got a free pass today. All right, let's see what else January 29th has given us. 1845, The Raven is published in the Evening Mirror in New York. The first publication with the name of the author, Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe was poisoned, possibly by a guy named Reynolds. That was the last thing he said, Reynolds. Then he was no more. 1863, the Bear River Massacre. A detachment of California volunteers led by Colonel Patrick Edward Connor engaged the Shoshone at Bear River in the Washington Territory, killing hundreds of men, women, and children. Here's the backstory. As the U.S. was expanding west, settlers and miners were moving into lands where Shoshone lived. I mean, this happened with many different Native American tribes or nations. This obviously caused a bunch of different problems. The Shoshone really didn't like people moving into their land and depleting their food sources. So things got heated and there was occasional fights and raids and things of that nature. Leading up to the Bear River Massacre, there was some really ugly situations that we won't get into, but if you feel like looking it up, look at things that led up to the Bear River Massacre on Wikipedia. It was ugly. So this was during the Civil War, and not a lot of people know about this because it happened during the Civil War, and it was an ugly, ugly incident, so as you can imagine, the US government really didn't want it out. There wasn't a bunch of press back then, so it kind of became legend, rumor, and story. So back about that time during the Civil War, the U.S. government had sent certain military units out west to protect the settlers and things like that. One of their real problems they were worried about, the Mormons had moved to Utah and they were afraid that they would break off and become their own thing and kind of split up what the U.S. government had going on. So they sent these military people out there to kind of act like they were protecting the settlers, but in reality they were trying to be in a position to put down a rebellion if they had to. This unit was under the command of Colonel Patrick Edward Connor. Connor wasn't exactly a fan of the Native Americans and was all for using force whenever he could find an opportunity. So at some point in early 1863, he got the green light to go hunt down Shoshone. So he and his men set out and attacked a Shoshone camp near Bear River on a freezing morning. The Shoshone, led by Chief Bear Hunter, were totally caught off guard. What happened next was brutal and ugly. The estimate varies, but around 250 to 300 Shoshone, including women and children, were killed. The soldiers didn't hold back. It was massacre in every sense of the word. This event was huge. It wiped out a big chunk of the Shoshone population in the area and really messed up their way of life. But for a long time, it didn't get much attention in the history books, which is kind of wild considering how awful it was. The Bear River Massacre is a tough reminder of how rough things were during the westward expansion and how badly indigenous people were treated. Remembering stuff like this is important. I know a lot of people want to get rid of the history, or they want to change the history, but it helps us understand the mistakes of the past so we don't repeat them. I mean, the stuff in the history books is already kind of watered down or slanted at best, but when you start ignoring history completely, you run into a problem. Could you imagine if we decided to kind of just exclude all the stuff Germany did during World War II? I used to work with a German guy and he explained to me that in German schools, they tell the kids, we did some horrible things during World War II. And then they kind of teach them, this is how our society fell into this problem and fell into this trap. They do it in a way so they know, don't let this happen again. 1886, Carl Benz patents the first successful gasoline-driven automobile. 1936, the first inductees into the Baseball Hall of Fame are announced. Those inductees were Ty Cobb, Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, Honus Wagner, and Babe Ruth. 2002, in the State of the Union address, President George W. Bush describes the regime that sponsors terror as an axis of evil, in which he includes Iraq, Iran, and North Korea. 2009, Governor of Illinois Rod Blagojevich is removed from office following his conviction on several corruption charges, including solicitation of personal benefit in exchange for an appointment to the United States Senate in the replacement for then U.S. President-elect Barack Obama. Basically, governor can appoint someone to the Senate when someone leaves, let's say they go to jail, or in Obama's case, he was elected to the White House. He's trying to get some cash out of it. Eventually, President Trump pardoned him, and he was on some talk show, and I was watching him, and he's all, well, obviously I was innocent. That's why I got pardoned. And the host goes, that's not why you got pardoned. And he got all angry and stormed out. 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic. The Trump administration establishes the White House Coronavirus Task Force under Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex Azar. Movies released on January 29th, 1993, Matinee. This was a cute movie. A film promoter releases a horror film during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Back in the day, they used to have these lame disaster movies that would come out all the time, and, people would flock to see them in the theaters. We had the Towering Inferno in the 70s, along with Earthquake and any other kind of disaster. Well, this movie, in the movie, was based on radiation from a nuclear war thing, and John Goodman plays this carnival barker promoter guy. And when he plays a movie, he adds shockers to the chair and things that rumble the ground. Just try and make the movie a little more exciting. He even hires a local kid to come out in this monster lobster outfit at a certain point in the movie to scare all the people watching the movie. Well, this kid, he's a local troublemaker. His girlfriend broke up with him and he's trying to get his life together, so he takes this job to earn some money. So the movie's going. He's in the back putting on the lobster outfit. He comes out at the right part. Everyone's screaming. He's running down the aisle trying to scare people and realizes his girlfriend's there with another guy. So he starts beating up the guy. He's in a lobster's outfit. It's a great movie. Born on January 29th, 1970, Heather Graham. She played Felicity Shagwell on the second Austin Powers film. She's been in a whole bunch of other really good movies. Anger Management, The Hangover. She was even on Arrested Development for one season. She's dated everyone. Matt Dillon, Heath Ledger, Edward Burns. She was kind of a victim of Harvey Weinstein for a while there. He had tried to, make her a deal. If you know Harvey Weinstein's background, you know what kind of deal that was. And she turned him down, and she didn't show up to the meeting because it was in a hotel room and she wasn't allowed to bring anyone. So she didn't show up for it, and for a long time she didn't get any roles, and she didn't get anything with Harvey Weinstein's company. I just saw her in something. I didn't know she was born in 1970, so it makes her 53, I think. I honestly thought she was in her late 30s, early 40s. Died on January 29th, Howard Hesman, American actor known for his television role as the burned-out disc jockey Dr. Johnny Fever on WKRP in Cincinnati. He also was in Head of the Class. He appeared regularly on television and films from the 1970s to the 2010s. He was also on One Day at a Time, Police Academy. Howard Hesman died from complications of colorectal surgery in Los Angeles, California. He was 81 years old. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.